Good evening. Along with all of you here, we're also joined by people on live stream here to honor Maren and celebrate her life. Thank you for being here and celebrating her life with us. We've got our children here. Zachary is over here. Cameron is over here. Courtney and Amanda goes by Mandy. We've also got some out-of-town family. Alan, her brother, has come. Tammy is her sister. They've come all the way from Utah to be here. And Amy is a traveler in her job, so she's from everywhere. She says she's been to all 50 states. So, and then I can't forget Cooper either. Cooper could not make it. That is the mini golden doodle. That was Rami's dog, not able to attend tonight and might not have behaved appropriately. Maren was a university professor, community activist, researcher, world traveler, friend to many, and most importantly, a mom. Pictures from her life have come across the screen as you sat here during the visitation time. Her urn that she made at the Rock Hill Pottery Center with friends and colleagues there sits on this table, along with flower arrangements that we thank you for. Her life was tragically cut short, but a full life was lived, and we should all be proud of her. I know she's with us tonight. Thank you, family and friends, for the generous time that you spent with Maren, especially towards the end of her life, reading, rubbing her arms, helping her up, getting her medications, sometimes just sitting next to her to keep her calm and at peace in a really difficult time. And the generous gifts of flowers, gift cards, food, and thoughtfully worded cards. It's not easy to know what to do or what to say in these kind of situations. There are more doctors and nurses to thank than I can even mention. Dr. Elahiki was the main contact on a combined Levine and Duke cancer team. After Maren entered hospice, someone said to me, "Brett, maybe there'll be a miracle." I said, "There already has been one. There already has been. There was a miracle, but it was a scientific miracle. Things were so dire when we were diagnosed 6 years ago with aggressive metastatic cancer all over the body. I don't know initially that she had a year to live. Doctor notes were definitely not encouraging. However, critical treatments developed by funded researchers who go to work every day to find solutions to extend and enhance life, and the wise application of those life-altering and extending treatments by her cancer team extended her life an additional 5 years. That's the miracle. That's the miracle that happened. I met Maren before we knew anything, and we don't know a lot now. We still don't know much, but we were in the middle of our undergraduate studies, and she already had an associate degree in nursing and was wondering whether to finish her bachelor's when we decided to get married. All right, pulled her arm and forced her to get married. I told her she had to finish her bachelor's degree so we could go off to graduate school. And that was the first she heard she was going to graduate school. She started her coursework again, and we finished together, and then we went to Syracuse to work on a master's programs, and there she completed her nurse practitioner program while being a home health nurse. After graduation, we moved to Connecticut, where we started post-college life. I could tell that she had enjoyed some teaching opportunities she had and had passion around research, and suggested she get a PhD. See, I felt that Maren was very smart. Straight A's, high test scores, volunteer experience, publishing, everything that goes well into a PhD application. So I suggested she get the PhD. I felt like it was really her to be an academic. She derided my suggestion, and she called me an idiot. But I said, well, actually, I've already got all the applications. And I had gotten them from UConn, University of Rhode Island, UMass, a number of them. Yale was one of them. And I said, I think we start with Yale. And she said, you are really an idiot. And a few months later, I got home, beat her home, and I was cooking some dinner. And the phone rang, and it was the dean of Yale's nursing program. And I knew she wanted Maren. And I said when she got home, I barely ever pulled this card out. I knew better. But the card I pulled out was, I told you so. I told you so. You're good enough, you're smart enough, and you will excel at this. And ultimately, she chose to go to UConn because it was a year shorter program. And I was all in favor of that. Let's cut off a year. But it wasn't ridiculous, and it was absolutely the right decision for her. She never had a job interview. She didn't get a job offer in her life. She never applied to a program she didn't get into. She just seemed to excel and have a lot of energy. My claim to fame is that I wrote the Yale essay. So that's one I've reminded her of. She was more than good enough. I said, you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. As she was graduating, we made a commitment to Charlotte. Before we had jobs, we came down and visited, and the year before it had snowed in May in Connecticut, and we just said, that is unacceptable. And so we made sort of a list. Where would be a cool place to be? We wanted to stay East Coast, even though we're from the West, and so we were looking for a place with moderate winters, not far from the beach, not far from the mountains, reasonable cost of living, reasonable taxes, vibrant economy. That describes that is the Carolinas, has the seasons. And so we came down here, and it was Christmas week of '03, and we were over in this beautiful park, and these little baby girls we're sliding down the slide, and it was 64 degrees. And we said, we're buying a house. We bought a home before we left, and we still had one in Connecticut. We didn't have jobs here. I wouldn't have recommended that in 2008, but it worked really well in 2004. And she came down, and really her main option was UNC Charlotte. And she made the contact, and like every job, every program she'd ever applied to, she made a contact. They reached out, and they said, we want Maren. And she spent 21 years as a faculty member making her way up at the university. I've got several of her colleagues that have been with her for all of or most of that ride, who will share some thoughts celebrating her and what she meant to them and to the university and academics. Up in Connecticut, before we left, we had these beautiful girls, and we waited about 6 years to have kids, and I was pretty excited when we were going to have kids. And they really do a lot of these ultrasounds. I felt like they wanted to do one every week. I didn't know what the deal was with the obsession with these ultrasounds. And so she asked me, do you want to come to this ultrasound? And I said, okay, which ones? And so I was strategically saying, let me come to that one and that one. Which one do they tell the sex? Let me come to that one. And one of them I did not go to. I came home from work, and she said, you want to see the ultrasound? And to be honest with you, I thought, you can't tell much from these things. They're just, and technology is better now, but back then, in the olden days, right? Couldn't really tell much. And so she says, look at this picture. I'm looking at it, I can't tell much. And she says, do you see the A and the B? And I go, yeah. She goes, baby A and baby B? This is the best day of my life. And shortly thereafter, I found out we were going to have girls. And once we got down here to Connecticut, we added 2 boys. We added Zach and we added Cam, and every one of these kids was an absolute joy of her life. And as much as she did academics and did all these other things, the very core of her existence and her priorities and what was important to her was her kids. So we've got a number of people who are going to share some thoughts tonight. And I want to start with Dr. Powers. Dr. Kelly Powers is a colleague of hers that goes way back, and she'd come up and share a couple things. And then we've got Dr. Troutman after that.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Kelly Powers, and I'm a colleague of Maren's at the UNC Charlotte School of Nursing. I'm honored to share a few words about her, both as her colleague and as her friend. So before I talk about all these awesome accomplishments Maren has, I just want to talk to you guys and say that by far, you kids were her biggest accomplishment. Every time we got together, and we loved going out for hummus and all these things and chit-chatting. And we started with a rundown. She would ask, how's your son doing? Well, that took a short amount of while, one kid. And then I got the rundown on all 4 of you. And you too, Brett. I got the rundown. So it often took a while, but that's good because then we got to enjoy lunch longer. She was so proud of you guys, of your compassion, your work ethic, your love for international travel, your knowledge of cars. And these are all qualities of Maren's too, except maybe the car thing, although she really could talk a lot about cars. So she was either listening to you guys or she just knows everything. Maren started at UNC Charlotte in 2004. And for over 20 years, she made a big impact on her students, her colleagues, and the wider community through her work as an educator, a researcher, and a mentor. As an educator, Maren prepared countless nurses to make a positive impact on the lives of others. You know, sometimes people ask if being a nurse educator is as rewarding as, you know, being a nurse with, you know, you get to give hands-on care to make people better. And I always say that it's more rewarding to be an educator, because for every student that we teach, that Maren taught, they go out and improve the lives of lots and lots of people. And when you think about it, if we teach hundreds of students each year, they're improving thousands of lives because of us. Maren taught for over 20 years. She made a difference in the lives of so many people. One of Maren's favorite courses focused on health disparities, and one of her assignments was on food deserts, and she loved to talk about this. Food deserts are when people live in areas that they don't have access to grocery stores, just maybe convenience stores. And that makes them at high risk for diabetes and other diseases. And Maren was so passionate about this. She could have had her students just simply read articles about food deserts and get the picture, but she had them go out into the community, find local corner stores, perform an audit, and then plan how they could use that information to improve the community's access to food. Every time I would talk to students about how their courses were going, that course would come up, and they would talk about how valuable that assignment was in opening their eyes to the realities of health disparities and the importance of public health and public health nursing. As a researcher, Maren's ultimate goal was to make lives better. Her work focused on health promotion with a special interest in improving the health of vulnerable populations. Put simply, she loved all things public health. When she was in Latin America, Maren immersed herself in the culture and became fluent in Spanish, and she used those experiences and her knowledge to become an expert researcher on health disparities and public health interventions for the Latino community. She was awarded numerous grants, and she was especially proud of being a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Nurse Faculty Scholar. It's a long title. Maren was a fierce advocate for public health research and loved collaborating with her colleagues from other professions in our Academy for Population Health Innovation. Using her public health nursing expertise, Maren conducted research in several public health priority areas such as nutrition and exercise. Most recently, she conducted a study to examine the support group needs among women with metastatic breast cancer because she realized those needs weren't being met. Her work has and will continue to improve the health and well-being of others. She also touched the lives of other researchers through her collegiality and her mentorship. I know this because every time I'm at research conferences, you know, you wear your badge and they'll come up and people will say, "You're at UNC Charlotte?" I'll say, "Yeah, I am." "Do you get to work with Maren Coffman?" Well, yes, I do. I'm so lucky. We're so lucky to have her. As a mentor, Maren lifted others up. She worked with numerous honors and doctoral students, helping grow their ability to conduct research. She inspired students to always question the status quo and seek answers that will improve the lives of others. She also inspired continuous professional growth. Just the other day, I was talking to a former student who had learned pharmacology from Maren back when she first started in 2004 during her undergraduate studies, and years later, Maren and I mentored her together on her doctoral research. And when I was talking to that student, she said, it just came full circle. Maren was there at the beginning of my career, and then I got all the way to my doctorate. Maren had a gift for encouraging others to grow their careers. I remember asking her opinion on whether I should return to school for my PhD. Her response was a very simple, yet strong, yes, of course, you need to do it. I think she learned that from you, from what you just said. And then this was followed by numerous check-ins to see if I'd applied. Later, when my classes were stressful and I questioned myself, Maren told me, getting your PhD is not just about what you know. It's also a test of whether you can persevere, and you can. She was the cheerleader that I needed, and I was so fortunate to call her my mentor. In addition to being a superb educator, researcher, and mentor, Maren was simply a wonderful human being. She was very kind, but also feisty enough to stand up for herself or others when needed. She was great at building relationships, always giving people focused attention to know that they mattered. And she was so smart, like about everything, not just nursing stuff. Like I said, she could pivot from teaching pharmacology to strategic planning to quality improvement. And in case you didn't know, those things are all hard to teach. And she could teach it all. She just knew it all. She was who I called when I had questions about the schools that our kids attended. She was the one who knew where to go in town for the best hummus. She knew how to make chocolate candies, and she loved to bring them whenever we met up and loved to see how happy they made other people. How did I get so lucky to have an amazing friend who also made her own chocolates? I will always be grateful. Thank you.
I'm Meredith Troutman Jordan, and I would be hard pressed to do anything near justice the lovely words that Kelly just shared with you. But I had the privilege of being a friend and a colleague to Maren for 21 years at UNC Charlotte. I echo Kelly's sentiments. She was a woman with extraordinary accomplishments. She provided tremendous service to the community, a fierce advocate for vulnerable populations, and you could very clearly tell that her family and her career were amongst the things that she loved most. Other things, one thing that I will always be amazed and awed by, that Dr. Powers and Brett alluded to briefly, but this is someone who completed her PhD, as I did. We graduated the same year and same semester, and besides her lovely twins, she had 2 babies during the time she was a tenure-track professor. I don't know anybody else who has accomplished that amongst all the other outstanding achievements, research, academic, education that Dr. Powers alluded to. Just an amazing, accomplished person. And I'm not doing that justice. She loved her family, like you were alluding to, Dr. Powers, wholeheartedly, more than anything. She also loved her students, and this was readily apparent as she was a fierce advocate for students, a creative problem solver, wholly committed to others and making others' lives better in the community as well as abroad. One could speak with her only briefly to know that she was a fierce advocate, not just for students, but for vulnerable populations. She did, like Kelly was sharing with us, have a love of the Latino population. She expected the best of herself, thus from her outstanding achievements, as well as others. And I think that's part of that inspiration and motivation that she imposed on students. She inspired and she pushed students, as well as colleagues. She was somebody I also looked up to. She was a tireless advocate, again, for the vulnerable populations, including those who experienced health disparities, and later in her career, individuals experiencing breast cancer, metastatic breast cancer. An amazing person. My words don't do justice. I would say your work will not be forgotten. We love you, sweet friend, and this is not goodbye, but see you later. Thanks.
If we could have Tammy come up here and another colleague, the professor who hired Maren is Dr. Jackie Dieneman, and she could not be here tonight, but she wanted to send this message about what Maren meant to her and asked that it be read.
From Jackie. I met Maren when she moved to Charlotte, and I hired her to work at the School of Nursing. She was an almost PhD, married with toddler twin girls. You could tell then that she definitely would finish and build a career. She not only did, but she also had 2 more children. We had a retired outstanding nurse leader who was hired to consult with our faculty to help them publish. She worked with Maren and others and spent extra time with Maren, seeing her high potential. She advised Maren to transfer to Chapel Hill or Duke, but Maren decided to bloom where she was planted. I was thankful she stayed because I valued her and cared about her. I consistently supported her development as an academic. I don't even know how to say that word. Academic. You have to help me. Academician. Sorry, that one is not going to work for me. Okay. Maren was balancing not only a career, but wife and mother to 4 children. She and her husband felt Charlotte was the best place for the family as a whole. Maren had developed a wide array of connections in the local Hispanic community that was the resource for her research on diabetic self-management by Hispanic people. So in that way, Charlotte was also the base for her research. She also had many university-wide faculty connections that enriched her teaching and internal power. She was respected at UNCC. They supported her work there during the 6 years of her cancer. I personally will miss her terribly, but also accept that she has suffered a great deal with her cancer and its treatment. I am sure she is now at peace and, as her husband has said, still supporting each of her children and him.
We've got Cam here, who one of Maren's joys was listening to Cam practice piano, and so he has a song that he's going to play for us. It's a Coldplay song, "Viva La Vida." Thank you, Cam. Like I said, I think that was one of his joys. He's claimed that when he finally moves out of the house, he's taking the piano with him. And I think that was one of her great joys, is just to hear him in the other room practicing piano. I think it brought a tremendous amount of peace. Want to have Zach share a couple of words, and then Mandy, and then Courtney.
Hello. Sorry. All right. My mom would put, her kids before herself, and she always, took care of me. One time at school at Fort Mill, I called her and I said, "Mom, I don't know why, but I'm so hungry, I feel like I'm going to pass out." She brought me Chick-fil-A within the hour. She was quick. She always, took care of me. And, I will always appreciate that. I will always remember that. And I just feel like we always had this special connection to where, like, I would always look forward to just even running errands with her, going somewhere, just me and her, especially in the Mustang. It was always so much fun. And my favorite trip ever is still, the cruise we went on, me, Cam, and her, and it was so much fun. It's always, me and her never fought a single time. And it was always laughs and good times. And, she was the best mom I could have ever asked for. And I will always look up to her. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Hi, thank you so much for being here. My mom was one of the most thoughtful people I've ever known. She always seemed to know exactly what to say to make me feel better. And she showed her love in so many small ways. One of the ways she showed how much she loved us is she was a very gifted potter. She made me a lot of pottery pieces, and it's like I always will have a piece of her with me. I will also really miss all of our conversations about books, and she always had a great book to recommend to me. One of my favorite memories with her was this cruise that we went on, me, my sister, and I, this past February, and it meant a lot to me. We went on a cruise to a few Latin American countries, and that was, I loved how she shared that passion for Latin American countries with both me and my sister. It was the best trip ever, and I'm so grateful for the time we had together and the joy that she brought into every day in that trip. Thank you.
I'm Courtney. I'm Maren's daughter. Thank you all for being here to celebrate her life. I'll try to hold myself together for the next 2 minutes. Losing her has left a big hole, but at the same time, we found comfort in sharing stories and memories that remind us how lucky we were to have her. And I appreciate everybody all sharing memories and stories of her with me. That is just so important and so special to me. My sister Mandy and I, and all four of us, me, Zach, Cam, we've been spending a lot of time together the past week and a half. We even took a trip to Greenville this past weekend just to spend time with the four of us. Me and Mandy have been spending a lot of time together without arguing, which my mom would be surprised and very glad to hear. And actually, also, a few days ago, Mandy's first concern was who's going to cook Thanksgiving dinner this year. And Thanksgiving was, I told her, it was one of my favorite holidays to spend with her. She would always make a menu and would make sure everyone had a dish that they liked. She was thoughtful, inclusive, and caring. A few more words that others have used to describe her are warm, generous, supportive, radiant, and passionate. She was especially passionate about her career, as I'm sure you guys know. Many of you knew her for her years she spent at UNC Charlotte, where she devoted herself to researching and improving health within Latino communities, a passion inspired by the year and a half she spent in Venezuela in her 20s. When Mandy and I graduated from high school, our mom took us on a trip to Peru to hike the Inca Trail, something she had always wanted to do. I hold those memories so close to me because she shared with us her love for travel, for people, and for experiencing the world. Somehow, my mom was able to balance a rewarding and fulfilling career while also prioritizing being a mother. Being a mother came first to her. My mom was at everything when I was growing up. She made sure to be at every single school event. Everything I could have asked her to be at, she was there. She taught me to work hard for what you believe in and to find joy in the small things, whether it was a home-cooked meal, getting a coffee together, or just spending time together running errands. And we did that a lot, as Zach said. I know me and my family and everyone she ever knew will miss her very much. I recently attended a yoga class where the teacher shared a quote in memory of a friend she had lost, which I'm trying to understand as I go through my own grief journey. They're meant to bring you joy and happiness while they are here, not pain and sadness when they are gone. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you for your beautiful words. I'm related to them. Maren adored our children and always will. The last few weeks of her life, she wasn't able to really be present with them, but I've reassured them that in a few weeks, I would tell them she'll be able to see a lot more. She'll be by your side, aware of what you're doing, and she is. And speaking just to these four, just to these kids, your lives are just beginning. There are so many great things that you'll be part of in your life, more than you can imagine right now. And your mom will be cheering you on. Do your best in your life, set and achieve your goals, find causes that are deeply meaningful to you, ways to give to others, and make her proud. Then eventually, when you do see her again, you'll have lots to talk about. To our friends here with us today, please embrace Courtney, Mandy, Zachary, and Cameron at any opportunity you get as they venture into the world after suffering the enormous loss that they did. It wasn't just a one-time event. They've witnessed a lot, and they've seen way more than they should have seen at their age the last 6 years. It's forever changed all of us. Don't suppress the pain, feel the feelings, recognize what you feel, and talk with people about it. It's okay to be angry, sad, disappointed. and that your way maybe is lost a little bit. It's human to feel. It is a byproduct of caring so much, and it's a byproduct of love. Embrace each other and remember how much you are loved. It's a lot. Let's honor her and celebrate the life she had and how we are better because we knew her. In conclusion, we'd be honored to have the Nurses Guard, South Carolina and Atrium to perform a special ceremony for us. Thank you.
Nursing is a calling, a lifestyle, a way of living. Nurses here today pay tribute to our colleague, Dr. Maren Jill Coffman, and we honor her life as a nurse. We want to formally acknowledge Nurse Dr. Maren Jill Coffman for her years of service as a nurse, and to note that her accomplishments are not measured in those years, but in the lives she touched through her dedication, compassion, and a servant's heart. Thank you, Dr. Maren Jill Coffman, for your legacy of caring and for all you gave to the nursing profession.
This lamp is a symbol of all that Florence Nightingale stood for: comfort and kindness, gentleness and courage, and an unwavering devotion to duty. Perhaps deep down, Nurse Nightingale knew even then that the light from the lamp would go shining on into the future. On behalf of the Nurses Honor Guard of South Carolina, we would like to present this lamp to the family in honor of Dr. Maren Coffman.
This white rose symbolizes Dr. Maren Jill Coffman's devotion to her nursing profession. Dr. Maren Jill Coffman, we honor you this day and give you this white rose to symbolize our respect and appreciation for being our nursing colleague.
Will all nurses please stand as we do a final call to duty?
Dr. Maren Jill Coffman, please report for duty. Dr. Maren Jill Coffman, please report for duty. Dr. Maren Jill Coffman, please report for duty. Dr. Maren Jill Coffman, thank you for your service. You are now relieved of your nursing duties.
Thank you.